Well, hello, my lovelies. Happy Tuesday to my dragon family. Araya Onra coming to you live here, as I do every Tuesday. Here we are. We're going to talk about dragons because we love dragons. We are dragons. We want to talk about dragons, and you guys have questions about dragons. So, paying attention to the energy. I like to usually check in, especially when I have groups. I've got my quantum flight group today. We're in week 2. Man, did we kick off with a great start last week. Really excited about what's transpiring in that group already and what's happening here globally for us, because as I said last week, everything that transpires there enhances the fullness of the group sphere here. And for the love of dragons, even though you think you aren't in the group, you're not connected to it, there is a link because they're all part of this group, and that expands it into this field. So there are benefits, and one of the things that I'm going to be talking about today with them that I want to share with you and make sure you're aware of before I go into this great question or topic really that got brought up to me, hoping for a discussion about it, is the solar flare event. If you haven't seen it, there is a solar burst or a solar flare event that when there's a solar flare, and it's a really big one, it actually will release what might be considered a cosmic ray or cosmic radiation, or something of a burst of literally emitting an energetic component, and like a fire burst. And obviously I'm not a scientist, I'm not finding the exact right word that they use, but it started 2 days ago, and they're predicting it to actually arrive here energetically today or tomorrow. So you may have started feeling it yesterday. I know the energy of it, I had forgotten about it, and it started showing up in my sessions yesterday. And this real big increase in awareness, real big influx of energy. And how we look at those is you can look at it as radiation, but they're really just cosmic bursts of increased radiance. So radiance might be better than radiation, because we unfortunately have in this Western world a negative connotation around the word radiation because of the way they do treatments with specific illnesses or diseases here in the physical body form. So if we look at it as radiance, because it's really like the cosmic waves of energy of divine light that have been coming to us since the dawn of time, but very, very stretched out. And specifically, the really biggest one that kicked off the era that we're in now and the shift moving forward was the harmonic convergence back in 1987. So this, I feel, is another one of those waves bringing a new level of ability to receive that radiance and shift yourself up another notch. So you might be feeling a little off, or a little like maybe imbalanced, or a little dizzy, or a little just unsure, like something's different. I don't know what it is, but I know it's positive. I feel like there's something like trying to realign itself, and that would be that. So that's why I brought in the Sun Dragon canvas here, because he's holding that energy and bringing that radiance, that divinity, that golden light in with us. And I'm so excited because I just finally got him from where I get my canvases, as well as the Pleiadians. And so these are all in the deck. You've seen them in the deck, but you maybe haven't seen them on my wall yet. So I got several more that I've been wanting for some time to have available, including the Flame Dragon and the Womb Dragon, and some others. So sharing those with you guys as I move into this topic. So I am, as I often do, just going to read the topic or the question that came in. This was a great inquiry, and I wanted to talk about, even though it's not directly related to the dragons and working with the dragons, they do assist in this. And many of those that are dragon, that are these higher vibrational beings coming in to be part of this light brigade moving forward, to bring in and really foundationally ground in the higher frequency energies. These young people are struggling, and when I read it, you'll understand who I'm talking about and why it is something that we need to talk about, as all light workers would, and maybe get an understanding of it, because many of us have questions, or why is that this is such a challenge or a struggle. So it says, the concern I have is that there seems to be quite a lot of gifted people that don't fit into society's box, being given labels of ADD, ADHD, global developmental disorder, all those kinds of things. I think that because they don't fit society's criteria, there's a disservice to them being given a label that is at best erroneous. I was wondering what the dragon's perspective is on this and if it could be addressed on the main group. So knowing this and looking at the number of young people, including signs that I see in my own boys, they are 7 and 13, signs that I see in all of their friends. So especially my 7-year-old has a group of friends. I would probably say they all fit within what society is labeling, and I really don't like labels. They are different characteristics and qualities, but what's happening is they have come in at such a high vibration, because if you think about it, as we make the shift, we're the ones, especially in my generation, we're the first barrage of indigo warriors that are here. Ooh, there goes my body tingles. We're the first barrage of the indigo warriors coming across, and we're like on the crest of the wave leading the charge forward. And there are those that are coming up behind us in incremental waves that are meant to carry the momentum forward, expand on it, make it bigger. So each generation following mine, and it's interesting that me being a much older mom, that I chose and my sons chose to come in with one that is the front of the wave, and they being not necessarily the back of the wave, but really the front of the next wave that is the foundation layer into the new earth field, into the quantum field. So they have been birthed. They come in with this really high frequency bandwidth. And I will tell you, I worked with my older son in meditation. I didn't know that he was going to be coming through. I was made aware of that during my pregnancy. I worked with him for 4 years in meditation. It was quite a journey. It was an incredible experience of being with this soul in meditation and having that presence always there. And really it was just a presence. He would always just stand and hold a field around me, whatever else was happening. I knew his name, I knew his signet, I knew what he looked like. And then when my son was born, I was pregnant and realized it's this, and was shown it's the same soul coming through. And indeed, now that he's 13, and I've seen it all along, same hair quality, texture, coloring, same physique, physical face, everything. So really, really unique experience. But having seen that, knowing he chose the timing, we chose the timing, because that next wave, that young generation of kids, is not the ones that are creating the movement forward into the quantum field. They're not creating the wave to break apart and open the ascension doorways and gateways and really set in place the structure and move us forward into it. That's our job. That's been the several generations before them. All the indigos are like breaking the old pattern, breaking the structure down. What they carry inherently within their coding is a much higher vibrational pattern, a much higher DNA sequencing, a much higher level of crystalline connection already in place. So naturally, they don't fit a 3D structure. What are the characteristics of these labels? ADD, ADHD, certain levels of autism. There's predominantly this level of what they consider distraction or inability to focus. And really it's what I see as their ability to know their heart desire, and they're constantly focused on that. And it might seem like, oh, I'm going over here, I'm going over here. What it is true freedom. And they're not fitting in, they're challenged by it because our system does not inherently allow that freedom to choose in every moment what you want to do. You get locked into time frames, you get locked into calendars and schedules, you get locked into boxes and how you have to be in group settings or school settings or team settings or whatever structure they are trying to be active within or participate in. Doesn't matter if it's some kind of scout, some kind of team, some kind of group on the playground, or whatever, any kind of physical activity like their school system. They are really super challenged with any of those structures because they inherently, as the basis core of the foundation moving into New Earth, hold that freedom code. They hold that ability to be so centered in their heart of, I know what I want to do right now, and it's this. And you can do what you want to do. And I see constantly with very, very young children, it's common that they're in their own focus And, this 3-year-old might be doing this while this one is doing this, even though it's a play date or they're in the same room. They are totally in wonderland in their own space. But it doesn't stop at that young age. What I see is developmental now is the older kids really in that same space, not moving away from that into this greater picture of what we have deemed is, this communal group. But it's different. We sort of demand attention to that. We demand focus on it. We demand like following the rules of it, following this or guidelines or whatever it is of it. And they're saying actually community is the freedom of the individual within that. And we need to rewrite the coding and bring and hold that patterning so that the generations that follow us are actually birthed into and have that open gated, open field of energy to explore within, expand within, let their heart create within. So if you have those kids in your life, and almost every one of us will either have those children around us, whether it's, you might not have kids, you might have nieces, nephews, might have neighbors, you might be a teacher, you might have kids in where you work, whatever the experience is, to start looking and feeling the truth behind that of how these limitations of labels or expectations are really the root of pushing them out of society and the norm that's been there, and allowing that to flip-flop into the recognition of that individual truth that is really the cursor now of the foundation stones as we move forward, and what a gift they are to be in and around us to hold that pattern. Because I guarantee you, having 2 of those in my field, I know that it's challenging because I'm in that old school format structure and like things a certain way, or like, the house to be a certain way or the room to be a certain way. They're in total freedom without any of my parameters. And so they have brought, and as I've gone through my my steps towards my ascension journey and elevating my vibrational field and the work that I'm able to bring, the perceptions and the information that's able to come through, I know that my journey is enhanced, and that field in mine is partially responsible for my push forward into the new geometric, into the new energy, because it demands me to release the structural expectation that's put on them. So where do the dragons fit in with this? They are very connected to the new energies. Some of them are dragons coming in, and many are those that are dragon, but there's a lot in this young generation that are both dragon or feline or phoenix. Any of the new energies bursting through. So my oldest is a phoenix energy. Absolutely knew it from the second he was coming through, and had a whole series of events like leading up to that just, in hindsight, I look at the perfection and the synchronicity of that alignment. There's a lot in the feline, which is the Lyran system, that is coming and taking over the batons from the dragons. So they're ever present, and they're across all boards. I would say there's more of a equality in numbers, or a evenness of the different representations of energies coming into the new pool of field, where maybe beforehand there was a lot more starseeds, a lot more dragons in particular, because they want to make sure that we move beyond this system. And the Lyrans now entering, I would say there's been fewer of them historically, but in the last year or two, they've started to come in bigger numbers, and they're starting to birth now in bigger numbers. So having that structure of understanding, how do we deal with it with the dragons? Can the dragons help us work with that, with our own pieces to release our structural expectations, and with those young beings to help them maintain that autonomy and freedom? So where I look at it is any of the elemental dragons that literally hold, so if you look at the 4 elementals, and they hold our physical, mental, emotional, and energy body structures, that's being super challenged for these young beings. So having those dragons come in and embrace and just hold the new pattern with them, to allow them to be embraced by an elemental that is moving out, and yet there's a sacred space held around them. But more apt for them is going to be a crystalline dragon, or of that lineage, diamond dragon, sapphire, any of the higher octaves above water. That there's a diagram in your book that talks about this lineage that will hold, because the crystal and above hold the pattern that is that higher vibrational DNA sequencing, that they're not coming in and losing. They're actually maintaining much more of their crystalline DNA structure as they come in, which is why they're so connected in their heart, why they're very free to say, no, this is what I'm doing now, this is what I want to focus on. I will stay on this for 3 hours or 10 minutes or 2 seconds, and then I'll be in this. Because as we live in that in the higher dimensional planes, if you have any memory whatsoever of your higher dimensional experiences, that's how we operate. We are in the flow of our heart in every moment. We want to have a gathering. We put out a telepathic call to all of the beings that we would want to be included or that might be interested in that. And boom, if they're into it, they show up. We don't plan ahead for a concert or an evening out and say, oh, we're going to schedule it 3 months from now so we can get all the sets built and we can find a venue and all the stuff that happens in elemental world 3D. No, it's a gathering and we find it. And everybody brings their ability to create music or their ability to create stage production or their ability to create flowers or new plants or whatever. And maybe it's just a gathering to say, hey, let's have a family gathering. Anybody want to come? Because that's how we communicate. We actually are always sending out messages from the heart and signals and getting them back. And there's no judgment or ill thoughts when the gathering is shifting. And even I'm the one that maybe created it and I want to leave, it can keep going without me. And I freely, and beings come and go, and it's that flow because we're all aligned with that heart space. So they already have that. So the crystalline and above, I would say the elemental is holding space just almost to create that open venue of space around them, because the elemental dragons, they know this structure of 3D and they know that it doesn't fit them. So they can actually hold those walls back, hold a bigger energetic space, but then allow the crystal and above to actually maintain a direct sphere that they are held within, to maintain that autonomy, that freedom, and that ability to communicate to you. But for us, the bigger piece is, how do I allow myself to move into full acceptance of it, full alignment with it, lack of frustration with it, an ability to explain it in words that maybe a teacher would understand, or a school administrator, or a group leader, or a coach, or anything. And maybe I need to go, you know what? The system that's in place does not support or allow what this young person needs. I'm going to allow us to find that fit, create something different. So like in my own world, I've realized in the last 2 years that we need a homeschool. There were a lot of other factors within that, but I'm seeing in hindsight now, the factors that led me to it were ultimately about finding that freedom of flow for them, for all of us, because it allows me to also be in a different flow and structure than the get up, stress, get lunches made, get out the door, 30 to 45 minutes of driving twice a day taken up out of a schedule, like chaos. Like there's so much less chaos in my life because we made that transition. Maybe that's not possible for you at this moment, but maybe there are other choices that do make that possible, or maybe there's a different kind of activity structure that is a better fit than what we're forcing them into with soccer teams or after school clubs or whatever it is, based on our structure, our work pattern, our habits, that if we allow ourselves to align to their needs to be expanded, it will actually expand us. And I would say for us to work on that black dragon, because it's shadow pieces, it's structure and alignment to something that's holding us back and moving into the void, the spaces in between. And the black dragon holds space for that. That's that deep shadow work. Let me just feel into what other... It's interesting. I'm feeling the flame dragon really present. And it's funny because where I hung the flame dragon on the wall is right out of the corner of my eye, directly in front of me, as if I'm looking up into space, and it's like showing up in the background. So the flame dragon actually is another great one that isn't in the book. It is in the deck. So if you go into the Oracle deck and read about the flame dragon, literally allowing the flame dragon in whatever frequency bandwidth they show up within, because they come in a multitude of color ranges. Blue flame, white flame, I've seen purple flame, this brilliant like sunset looking pinky, magenta, yellow flame. That's the one that's in the deck. Brilliant white, hot yellow. There's so many different varieties, but you'll know it's a flame dragon just by the energetic. And if you don't know, just trust your intuition and call them in and just invite. All right. Araya says, Tana says, flame dragons would be beneficial to this for me. Can you come and help me work through this? Because what they do is they come in and burn patterns. So the black dragon can scourge them up from the shadows, help bring them up so you can see them and realize, where are my patterns inhibiting the freedom for myself and this young being? Even if it's not my kid. It can be my, as I said, my niece or nephew, my neighbor, a kid that's on my team, a kid that comes into my store every day. How you interact, where you interact. Where is there a limitation where it's challenging for you to interface with them and ask to be shown, what do I need to burn up to allow the freedom to open within me that allows me to even feel their structure and what they're bringing, and not be held limited and held within that cage of structure within myself. That the flame dragon can come and help burn all that away so that you actually find this expansion within yourself. Because when you expand, your perception and ability to embrace them absolutely changes 100%. So I love that this was brought in because I know it touches a lot of lives, and it wasn't a direct question maybe about the dragons, but they apply. And it is something that touches all of our lives as light workers, and to really be able to understand who these beings are, why they're here, what they're doing for us. So if you have more questions about it, or you want a different thread on it, or other questions, email them, send an instant message, comment on the video, however you want to get a message to me. But we can keep that discussion going if we need to. Or as always, every week I start a new one. And I loved this one, as I said, because it is a greater leap in understanding of where we're headed. What is that quantum field? Where are we headed? There is a new foundation, and they're the ones bringing it. We're the ones breaking down the old structure. We're the ones like, boom, bamming through the walls. We are the warriors, the indigo warriors that came in. We are the light team, and boom, boom, boom. I've got a lot of you in the For the Love of Dragons, especially that first wave, the 50-somethings who were the first indigos that you know who you are. You know you have this torch of light, and you know that you are meant to carry it, and boom, here we go. So, Laura, good to see you, Laura. Totally surrounded by flame. Aid in clearing and protection, absolutely. I'm glad you're aware of them, and they're definitely a big call-in on this, as can be the Sun Dragon. Sun Dragon would be another, like, I would say a little bit lower octave of the amount of heat that comes in and burns up, that it does burn up and break through things, but in a slightly different way. And you can play with those energies, play with what they feel like, or, just try them all out, because they're here to assist. And both of them are in the deck. Anything that's in the deck, you know what? I don't know who to call. I've got this issue going on, or I want to move more through this. Go into the deck, do a reading, pull a card, and see what dragon is present already with you that's bringing it to your attention consciously, so that you can go to that next level of either comprehension, mental awareness, breakthrough, higher vibration, greater embrace. Those are all the steps. And the more we embrace, the more unconditional we become, which really is what's changing the surroundings around us. So, blessings to you guys. Really excited that you're always here and that I get to speak to you every week. I love my dragon family. And it's been really healing for me to see and feel that constant connection. And have my ongoing Dragon Heart group and watch it grow, and watch this group grow. We're almost 2,000 now, and I know that not everybody's active all the time, and Facebook has lost a lot of interest, but I know that the replays get out there, and you hear it when you need it, even if it's not every week, that when there's something that needs to be brought into your field, the dragons are bringing you in, or bringing you to the YouTube channel and going, wow, I want to catch last week's, and then you see something else that maybe you missed a month ago, and you go, oh, that's actually what I needed to hear. So I find it a really amazing blessing always to look back and see what I've been inspired to do and how it actually is effective at the different points of everybody's journeys, and really why it was brought into my path to do. To have 4 years of videos out there on the YouTube channel. Exactly, Jane, when the time is right. 4 years of videos on the YouTube channel that can be searched by subject or just browse through so quickly and easily. That is an amazing archive and tool that I don't think I knew I would be creating or looked at ahead of, wow, I'm going to do this every week for 4 years. But when it's that every week of inspiration and a question that comes, and the desire to do it, it's a beautiful unfolding, and to follow that freedom, that heart, and letting those young people guide us towards that breakdown of structure in our own life, so we don't say, oh, I don't have time to do that every week. Oh, I don't have time to create that. I really see this and I want this. My heart is saying do this. And I don't know why this message is coming through, but somebody listening or catching this on the replay, this is for you guys, and I can feel this transmission going out. You know how Tana does that sometimes. Whoo, big energy going out of this heart flow. Wow. My heart, Tana's heart, just opened up wide. I don't know if you can feel that river of flow, but it's coming forward. And this is about allowing each of you that are watching this to feel that door unlock in your own heart. What is calling me right now? What is coming up in my field that I've wanted to create, that I've wanted to spend time on, that I just keep getting blocked or finding ways to not get it done? I allow my work schedule, my family schedule, my keeping my house clean schedule, whatever it is, there's something that's not giving you the freedom or time to really let that come out of you. And I guarantee when that comes out of you, that's going to be a bigger blessing to the world and the people that are touched by it than anything you're currently doing. Otherwise, this message wouldn't have come through. And this is how we align more and more and more to our heart, to our purpose, why we came. Because when I say, in all the Dragon Heart program stuff every year, I say, this program is about stepping into who you be. Are you ready to step into who you be? And everybody will think, she doesn't even know English. Like, that's not how you say it. But I do it on purpose, because stepping into who you be is literally alignment to your true self, and what it means to live aligned to that. That's the whole point of the Dragon Heart journey. That's the whole point of why I'm continuing on with Quantum Flight, to get people there faster now, because the energies are here. They are accelerating. You can feel them. And when you're living who you be, you're actually aligned to that heart in every moment. Are any of us doing it quite yet? No, we'd already be fully ensconced in the 5D field. We'd be in our light body, but that's coming. And I can see, even in the last year, the tangible, literal steps, even through my biological body field, of that process literally happening before my very eyes. And I can see it in every week, in every experience, that constantly, daily, there is new upgraded information, there's new awareness, there's greater opening. So hopefully this information helps you take advantage of that. And hello, Canada. Genevieve, good to see you. Anyway, if any of you are dazed, confused, lost, needing direction, and haven't had a session with me before, you don't have to dive in and do a reading or a course. They are great when you're ready. The book club, I don't know when I'll schedule the next one, but there's great ways to dive in. There are online courses available, but you can also go on my calendar, the Book Now button on either homepage, dragonwithin.com or invokehealing.com, takes you to the calendar, and there are 20-minute free discovery calls. Did you know that? I will spend 20 to 30 minutes with you on the phone, just feeling out. It's not a reading. I'm not going to answer some deep personal questions that you're confused about, but we can feel, what is the next step for you? Why are you being led to the dragons? What is going on with that? What brought you into my field? Or what could be an avenue forward for you to get your toes wet, your full feet wet, dive in, whatever you're ready for. And that's where you find those. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a fabulous week. Enjoy the energies coming in, especially over the next 24, 48 hours, as more of this beautiful wave influx coming in from the solar event is hitting the earth plane. And we'll see you then. Much love to you guys. Bye for now.